Ladies and gentlemen, I'm now going to introduce one of our listeners to the cage for you, and this is for the Vision Bantamweight title. We can now introduce to you from Sweden, David Haggstrom.
On his way to the cage now, from Sweden, David Haggstrom, from the Renyi camp.
An interesting entrance music.
Imperial Mark Star Wars. Every male will know what that is, of course. 5-1-1 record Haggstrom brings to the cage this evening. He's going up against a much more experienced opponent, Scotland's James Doolan.
I've heard a lot of good things about Haggstrom, but I haven't seen him personally myself, but all I hear is how talented this guy is.
Turbo, Tyson, whatever you want to call him, Doolan. Much more experienced than his opponent, like I mentioned. 17 wins, 7 losses, 2 draws. Fought the very best of European MMA. Guys like Serwin Kakai, David Aranda. Fought all over the world, in Japan, across Europe. Shows a superior challenge. He brings a very well-rounded game to the cage.
He's also a bantamweight holder in England.
Yeah, over at OMAC there. Defended his title, of course, in a draw, but defended it nonetheless against Vaughn Lee, current UFC star.
Many thought James was winning the fight up until he got hit with an illegal up kick. James couldn't even remember fighting the rest of the fight, but still managed to fight. Just shows you the level of James Doolan.
And the experience will play a huge role here because the time this fight is at. John Jameson, the referee. Red trim around the gloves. James Doolan, hometown fighter. up against David Haggstrom with the blue trim around the gloves. Going to be a fantastic fight this for the Vision Bantamweight title, another vacant title here tonight. Main event of the evening, action is underway.
A lot of movement from Haggstrom.
As I was mentioning, the time in the fight will benefit James Doolan. He's obviously loads of experience fighting all over the world. Probably fought at pretty much every time of the day, whereas David Haggstrom, only 7 fights. The fact that this show has ran on until later at night may impact his performance here. He might have been expecting to get in the cage a few hours before this. Nice leg kick from James Doolan. Doolan, of course, fantastic Muay Thai. Original background he's from. Definitely made the transition over now. Purple belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Don't think I've ever seen him hit as clean a pads as James Doolan does. It makes most of us in the gym have to take 2 looks because it's serious power and it's so crisp and technical. That's why he's landed so many knockouts in his fights, because his striking's just at another level.
Haggstrom, great boxing as well though. He's doing a decent job at blocking a couple of those kicks.
An unorthodox kick there.
Interesting to see how Haggstrom copes with the 5 rounds as well. Doolan's prepared for that before.
It's a big test, as you said. He doesn't have as much experience as James, so it's a big test for him. Only having 7 pro fights to go in against somebody with 4 times that.
Comes with a very good pedigree though, David Haggstrom. Nice left from Doolan.
He does come with that. Although I haven't seen him, everything I've heard about the Swede is all good reports.
You never really get a bad Swedish fighter, something that James Doolan himself points out.
He has mentioned that you do not get a bad Swedish fighter. They're all really technical and all well skilled in every aspect. Never better at one thing. They're always really good at
exactly,
everything.
Yeah, it's exactly the way it is. Part of their governing body, of course, they make it mandatory for guys to be definitely competent to get in the cage, whereas in Scotland
the fights are matched as well, different. You need to have a similar record. You don't put people in who's 8-1 against a guy who's 2-0. They don't do that. You need to, unless it's a short notice fight, they usually make sure the records are similar to make sure it's an interesting fight.
Absolutely, whereas in Scotland we know it's a little bit different than that.
It can go different.
Nice leg kick
from Haggstrom.
Both guys happy to stand so far in this fight. James Doolan well-rounded. We mentioned Hagstrom's well-rounded, and so is James. Showed great wrestling against David Aranda, even though that was a losing effort. Went down in the 4th round.
Nice head kick.
Lovely combination. Good response though from David Haggstrom. And a flying knee is caught from James Doolan.
James did the same thing when he fought Lee Remedios. He faked the low kick and then went high. He seemed to have done that a few times. He went low inside leg kick, because Haggstrom is changing to a southpaw position, as he did there. He went inside low, maybe 2 or 3 times, then went high, and Lee Remedios just didn't see it coming. Also maybe a good idea because he is fighting the southpaw. Well, Haggstrom changes, he does go from southpaw to orthodox.
Lovely body kick. Front kick from Doolan. Very unorthodox kick that.
Twice he's through that kick. I don't know if he can get a lot of power in it, but it certainly lands.
The only other person I've ever thrown a kick like that was Junior Osankao against Ross Pearson, the UFC, and it was almost just to sort of ward them off. It wasn't really with any intention of landing a really, because you're never really going to get much power behind that kick the way he throws it.
That's just what it seems to be these days. Everybody's thinking of new weird ways to throw kicks,
yeah,
and elbow and
unpredictability and unorthodoxy is the way forward.
Some of us just like to kick people.
Furious flurries here from Haggstrom. He's really coming forward
really
here.
Going for it here. James is moving well. James knows when to pick and counter.
Doolan looking to wrestle now. Haggstrom showing, despite the experience difference, Hagstrom's really up for this one.
He's really going for it. A lot of people will choose not to do that with James because they know James's striking is really, really good.
Lovely slam! Great work from Haggstrom, taking the back of Doolan. Nice
James
roll
done well
through.
to end up on top of it.
And there's a cut in Doolan's nose there, it's open. It's streaming blood, that nose. That is really opening up, that one. Both guys from great camps. Ren Yi for David Haggstrom. Pinky Ninjas for James Doolan. Haggstrom, we talked about Doolan being from a Muay Thai background originally. Hagstrom's from a Kyokushin Karate, the black belt in that art.
Maybe that explains the weird kick.
That could
I
well
have no
explain the
name for
weird
that kick. I have never actually seen that kick thrown.
Some sort of inverted front kick, I suppose you could call it. You could be happy or disappointed in both corners here at this point. Both guys have done good things, and at the same time their opponent has done good things.
I think Hagstrom's come out really aggressive at points. He's chose when to be aggressive. That just shows how experienced he is. There's no point in coming in and just being 100% aggression, because then the person's going to know what's coming next and how you're going to fight. And
right.
James as well, when Hagstrom was pressing, James was so composed that he could just throw his punches back, no need to worry, no need to load up. Nice body kick with Doolan.
Haggstrom is looking very comfortable on his feet here. Very impressive stuff from him so far. Doolan as well, it's a very even fight so far, but having not seen much of Haggstrom before, I'm impressed by the guy. He's obviously very legit. Not that we'd expect anything different, of course, coming from Sweden, and with 5 victories there.
Doesn't seem to be slowing down either. Haggstrom looks like he could really push the pace, same as James. They both look like they could push the pace for the full 5 rounds.
One of his nicknames, of course, Turbo. For a good reason.
For many reasons, because he can hit so quick and so hard. Honestly, it's for many different reasons he's got that. There he goes, working for the head kick as well there.
I don't think we'll see any of the rest of them on air.
Nice right cross by James. Nice half up to the body.
James seems to be getting very comfortable here. Throwing a lot more strikes than he did in the first round.
I think he's choosing when to throw, because he knows Haggstrom is really aggressive at the moment. I don't know Hagstrom's style, but his style is effective. He's changing stance a lot.
There,
he's mixing everything up. He's not just throwing the same things, and he's always moving. But James is used to that because he is so experienced. He's fought the top European bantamweights.
And at the moment, Haggstrom hasn't really shot for a takedown, which I think is why James is getting so comfortable there. It's almost become like a Muay Thai fight for him, and we know how many of those he's been in, how many of those he's been successful in. Former ISCA champion, as far as I'm aware.
He has won many titles at Thai.
Cracking fight so far, Vision main event. Flying knee attempt there, I think, from Haggstrom. Don't know if it caught James, but certainly dropped him.
I think James went to kick at the same time.
Yeah.
And I don't think the knee landed. I think he just was forced to fall back. I don't think his leg could get back down.
I think you're right. I think Hagstrom's momentum sort of pushed him over there. James is very dangerous from guard. Interesting to see what Hagstrom's top's game like. We've seen his striking. It looks fantastic. Very high level. Quite unorthodox at times.
He's allowing James to get the overhook. He's not really wanting to get it out.
That's dangerous, of course. We've seen James win by triangle against good high-level opponents on several occasions.
He won his title, or he may have won it against James McGuinness. Jay McGuinness.
Nigel McGuinness, I think.
No, he's won against James McGuinness, who was known for his submissions.
Good shots here from Haggstrom though. Haggstrom working well from the top position there, landing some nice ground and pound.
The knee.
Haggstrom quite happy to keep James on his back there, making sure he doesn't get caught by any of those kicks to the knees though. Be careful with James up kicks as well. Referee stands him back up. John Jameson refereeing our main event this evening. Division bantamweight title on the line. Big opportunity here for David Haggstrom to make a name for himself. James Doolan, very well known among Scotland, the UK and Europe. Very good name to have on your record if you can pull off a victory. And for James, it's yet another title opportunity. James looking for the throw there, but nicely defended from Haggstrom. Comes out in a very good position. Looking to pass, but James stops him doing that and puts him in guard.
Nice elbow end there by James.
Haggstrom giving James a very cold stare there as he walked away. He's really focused on this one.
He's really performing better than the experience level his record shows. He looks totally skilled in all aspects. Obviously he's going to be skilled, he's a top level European bantamweight, yep. But as he doesn't have much experience, it's different to see that he's performing so well with so little experience.
Yeah, he's done great here. He's been comfortable in top position there. You see him being comfortable in top position at the moment. Lovely left hand there right to James, and another left hand. Great stuff from Haggstrom. Really showing a clinic on ground and pound in that exchange there. He's shown he's very good and comfortable on the feet, shown he's comfortable on the floor. He's not outclassing James here though. This is a very close fight yet again.
The rounds have been close.
Going into the third here.
James looks like he's maybe going to be a bit more aggressive this round. He's come out a lot faster. Maybe try and put Haggstrom on the back foot.
And there's that unorthodox kick again from Haggstrom.
Haggstrom, you could tell, put a lot of effort into those combinations. James covered, took it.
Nice Superman from James. That Superman has started letting the blood trickle down Hagstrom's face from his nose, repaying the favour from Haggstrom in that first round.
Two bloody noses.
James pursuing him a little bit here. Haggstrom, as we've seen him do.
I think James has been much more effective when he's pushing the pace, because I think Haggstrom obviously, you can tell he's a good striker, but I don't think he's able to defend as well as James is when he's being pushed back. James can get pushed back and counter and defend, whereas Haggstrom looked maybe like he's moving rather than defending, and James was landing some nice shots when he was pushing the pace.
Both guys have quite similar styles actually. They both seem to be comfortable anywhere but like to stand and Haggstrom a little bit more unorthodox, of course. Certainly similar game plans, if nothing else. Both guys just seem quite content to just see where the fight goes. I think
they're both happy just to go wherever it goes.
Yeah. I don't think either came in with any sort of set plan to just sort of see where the opponent's good, see where he's bad, and exploit it. You can even hear that Hagstrom's throwing everything into those.
He is really putting a lot of effort, but when you're putting a lot of effort into your strikes, that really can take a bit of your energy away. Nice leg kick with Haggstrom. Big knee as well. Nice knee from Doolan.
That's just a reciprocal one there. James been instructed to keep his lead foot on the outside there whenever Haggstrom is being a southpaw, like, because he's changing stance every few seconds.
When Haggstrom is doing, when he's changing stance, makes it difficult for the person fighting, because then they can't set up what they're throwing because he's changing so often, so they can't get the style of throwing what they want to throw, because they need to change depending on the way Haggstrom stands. It can be awkward fighting somebody that does that.
I think that's what Hagstrom's whole game is set up to do. It's supposed to throw your opponent off a little bit with that unorthodox kick.
It keeps your opponent thinking, well, you attack as well, so it's...
And I'm surprised he's not done that more as well to keep James guessing, because he's had relative success whenever he's got in top position. We saw in the last round there, landed some nice ground and pound. See if he can do it again. He is letting James tie up that left arm of his though.
Interesting comment from the crowd. Haggstrom just got referred to as a toy soldier.
James is the commander. Can't beat a Scottish crowd, can you?
Big.
James looking for the leg lock
James
here.
get heel hook.
Nicely defended though from Haggstrom. Very composed. We spoke about experience. James thought it'd be a factor, we thought it'd be a factor. I think pretty much everybody involved with this fight thought it'd be a factor. It doesn't seem to be at all. Haggstrom seems to be very calm, very composed, and very capable in every range.
Hagstrom's very well trained.
On top and half guard now, Haggstrom.
Going back to guard.
Doolan looking to stand up. Another couple of good shots from Haggstrom.
Haggstrom really threw everything into that.
Starting to unload a little end of the round though. He'll be disappointed as you see him giving James that lingering stare at the end of the round again.
I keep missing that.
It's certainly hotting up this title fight. Vision main event for the bantamweight title. James Doolan of Scotland going up against the Swede David Haggstrom. Great fight so far. Fourth round coming up soon. Into the championship rounds. This is really where these fights are won and lost. Interesting to see how the cardio stays up, how the composure stays up.
Just try my camera. It's not going to do now. Do you want to take it now?
Seconds.
Championships rounds about to get underway here. 5-1-1 David Haggstrom.
Brilliant technical fight.
Yeah, very good so far. 17-7-2 James Doolan. We've seen Doolan in quite a lot of these recently. Really good technical fights. David Aranda, a notable one. Of course, his last fight was an excellent victory over Dino Gambatesa.
A quick guillotine finish in that.
It was an outstanding guillotine, one of the sweetest submissions you could see locked in. Gambatesa had him pressed against the cage. James jumped up, grabbed the guillotine, locked it on. Fight was over.
I think people maybe, it happens a lot if you look at a fighter and they've got something good, you always feel that that's what they're only good at. James's jiu-jitsu is really solid. he gives people nightmares on the ground. I never get to set. Anytime I roll with James, he's always got me. He's always sweeping me, or he's putting me in a bad position. It's always the case. He's so experienced, so he knows what to do and he knows how to put people off.
Good solid wrestling from both guys there. Haggstrom almost landing a takedown on Doolan.
Nice kick by Doolan. Right straight to the body by James. Leg kick by Haggstrom.
James responds to one of his own, and there's Haggstrom throwing head kicks. Fight is almost like anything you could do, I could do better. The minute somebody throws something, the other one seems to respond a short while after with the exact same tactic.
The same strike to see them coming. Nice head kick there, set up really well. 2 punches to the left and set up a right kick.
Doolan had been instructed to break and strike. He came in there looking for the sort of killer blows, I think, realising that he landed that head kick, but Haggstrom very, very sensibly grapples with him. Wrestles him against the cage. Doolan drops the takedown. Nearly got the slam. Good balance
takedown defence for Haggstrom, but a nice takedown by James. He's on top.
Haggstrom looking to use the butterfly hook there to stand back up. Some great feet work there from Haggstrom to get himself in the position he's in now.
James should go up with knees to the body as well here while he's down. Nice elbow from the clinch.
I think you're going to see James Doolan turn up the pressure now. He's landed a couple of good stuff, but there's Haggstrom keep coming forward, shooting for his own take. He gets the takedown.
He shot from a long way out there as well. I think James seen it coming, but just couldn't stop it.
Just when you think that James was starting to gain momentum there and really starting to push on, there's Haggstrom biting back. A really tough fight to score.
I think Haggstrom was forced to because he felt James's striking was really coming together there.
And there's Doolan looking to use the butterflies, but lovely pass to side control from Haggstrom.
James needs to yank that left underhook high and protect his neck, get to his knees, as he's trying to do here. Haggstrom's doing well in putting his left arm across James's face to stop him tuttling. Now he's back to guard.
Good shots from Haggstrom. Very good grounding pound, Haggstrom. His top game is very good. James puts a lot of people in trouble there with the elbows off the back and his submissions. But Haggstrom's avoiding most of that. He's not really taking much damage when James has been on the bottom. And he's certainly not been in any trouble from submissions so far.
Nice elbow again from James. He's working his right arm under Haggstrom's left. He's took his hand out. Looked like he was working for an armbar this week.
Doolan versus Haggstrom bantamweight title here at Vision 3 Uprising.
Working for the arm. He might have the arm.
Doolan could finish here.
Nice defence from Haggstrom.
Stuff from Haggstrom.
Nice sweep from James. End of the round.
Going into the final round. Both our title fights could end in a decision here. This one is incredibly close. The last one, Hislop up against Declan Williams. We saw a clear winner in that one. That was fairly clear for all to see. This one, it could easily go unanimously to either guy because each round is that close that each guy could have just stolen each round. You know,
It's a difficult round to judge because they've both had their moments. Nobody's really been dominant for a full part of a round. They've both had bits of each round where they've been dominant.
I think both guys actually were at their best whenever they were pushing the pace. Whenever Haggstrom's been coming forward, he has managed to land some stuff. And whenever he's gotten top and landed some nice ground and pound, he's done good work there, and that could be the key to victory for him. I think if he can get James to the mat here, there's every chance he could pull off a win. Nice show of respect from both guys. They've put each other through a really good fight here. Very technical display. We've seen it all predominantly stand up. We've gone back and forth. Doolan
Nice right straight to the body. Haggstrom returns with an overhand left.
Haggstrom ducks under, and that I think is the key to victory. That's what I said at the start of the round there. I think Haggstrom's best bet
James
is to
is
take
working
to
for
the
a
floor.
Kimura here.
And he's certainly got the arm beyond Haggstrom's leg, but the problem he's got, of course, is it's wrapped very tightly around James's body. And he's even lost his arms around.
The fifth round, James's arms will be tired. But so Haggstrom's, so it might be harder for him to defend if he can really take the arm away from the body.
He's really trying to look for that Kimura, giving up on it now.
Work for a left underhook. Haggstrom fights back for the underhook.
Haggstrom's top control is very, very good. He's been impressive so far. Lovely sweep
Nice,
from James.
James needs to get up from here. Brilliant stand up on the knee. Nice kicking it in the way out.
Haggstrom straight back on him. He realises the key to victory here is to get James to the floor. And it wouldn't surprise me if whoever steals this round or wins this round dominantly ends up winning the fight.
It could go like that, it could all come down to this last round. James needs to break away, create space, start the striking and not be too aggressive because Haggstrom is shooting for the takedown as he comes in with his strikes.
Still plenty of time left for either guy to pull out the victory and claim that Vision Bantamweight title for absolute certainty.
James works for a left elbow there, now he's got a high left underhook. Left elbow again from James.
James always looking for that elbow on the exit. Nice knee there from Haggstrom though.
A big takedown this could be for James if he gets it.
Good defence from Haggstrom though. But there you are, slam!
Nice
Lovely
takedown.
stuff from James Doolan. He wants this Vision title.
James, don't pass! Posture! Excellent punch! James, posture! Back on him! Chest up! Keep his legs elevated!
Nice head kick, but he slipped on the way down.
Good shots from Haggstrom in response.
James, standing back to feet again, son!
This is not the kind of position that James Doolan's corner team were looking for him to be in there. Whenever he was in top position, they were telling him, don't try and pass guard. Stay where you are.
It is unfortunate. Haggstrom was walking back to his feet, so James felt the need to work for it, and as he got up, he went for the kick and he slid, and now he's lost a bit of a position. This always does score on the judges because he's on his back, so James really needs to get back up and make a big impression in the last minute. Anybody who works more in the next minute or two could win the fight.
Yeah, if somebody lands a big punch or two, then they really could claim this title for their own.
James is working hard to use the fence, maybe working for an armbar.
This is the third Swede versus Scot clash for a Vision title. Previous two both went to the Swedes. Beating two dinky ninjas actually. Dan Hope.
Jonathan Vestine.
Yeah, and John Cullen going up against Martin Svensson.
The world's biggest featherweight.
And then this one we've got Doolan up against David Haggstrom. Really hard to score it, of course, while you're commentating. I couldn't even offer a prediction for this one like I have previous ones. It just seems very close. Each round you could see it been scored 50-45 to either guy because each round has been so close.
It just depends on what judge is scoring it and how they favour fights. You never know. James looking for a sit-up sweep.
Although, in saying that, I've got to say, I think the chances are this round has went to Hagstrom's favour.
Nice elbow.
Very hard to say. Lovely left hand from Hagstrom.
You don't know how they're going to score the earlier rounds as well.
Yeah.
James worked for an armbar.
Only 10 seconds remaining. This has been a very, very good performance from David Hagstrom.
A hard fought fight.
In this last round, he's really been very smart, getting in top. If it goes down to that last round, it's David Hagstrom's, but who knows who it's gone to. Hagstrom seems to believe that he's won this fight. He's up. Jaden James Doolan remained in the mat there for a minute. Can never really tell, of course. You never know. Could have gone either way.
I think both fighters are tired. That was a real grinder of a fight.
Real excellent display here. Technical fighting at Vision 3 Uprising, the main event of the evening for the Vision Bantamweight title. Vacant belt is going to be awarded. Will it go to Sweden in form of David Hagstrom or remain in Scotland with James Doolan? Now eagerly awaiting John Lamb, the MC for this evening, to tell us the result of the bout. Tonight's cage sponsored by Easy Sports and OrionWear.com, an upcoming brand of clothing. Check that out in upcoming weeks. Also got the OM2 gloves, Vision official gloves there. And Ionic Balance, of course, the prep point for this evening's fights. Legends Gym, UK MMA Live, and Sports Sense.
Ladies and gentlemen, the final result is and the winner of the Vision Bantamweight title. The scores were as follows: judge number 1, 48-45, judge number 2, 49-45, judge number 3, 50-46, all in favor, and the winner from Sweden,
Hagstrom wins here at Vision. Fantastic performance from him. That'll do wonders for his career. Vision have themselves a very worthy champion, an exciting champion who I'm sure is going to go on to big things. Yet again, Sweden have the victory over Scotland.
A massive scalp on his record now. James Doolan isn't easy for any bantamweight. He's got so many highlight reel knockouts, good fights. It's just unfortunate on this night that a Scottish fighter has the one over the Swedes.